Yeah, good afternoon. We've heard, so first of all, I'm the CEO of the Next Generation Mobile Networks Alliance. So we are an operator-driven organization existing since 2006, so since 15 years. And I have to correct a little bit the title, because it will be not only about 6G, it will also cover today's topics, so I will explain what we are doing. Quickly, with regards to our organization, we are a global alliance, as mentioned, operator-driven, more than 80 members in total. Our membership embraces the entire value chain from research institutes, vendors, software companies and alike, and of course operators. And NGMN has been vital already in the past in paving the way for 4G's and also for 5G's success. And I know that some very familiar faces in this audience were also part of the organization's foundation back in 2006. So when I started in 2020, so my personal background is that I'm in the telecommunication industry already since more than 30 years, so a long time. When I started almost 2 years ago as the CEO of NGMN, we decided that together with the board and our chairman that we actually need to not only cover the next generation, so not only working forward on 6G as our name suggests, but that we also need to cover topics which are very relevant today and in the minds of CTOs today. In addition, of course, it's always important for an organization like ours to not duplicate the work of any other organization. So this resulted in the decision that we focus on 3 main areas while still supporting 5G's full implementation. So the first big topic is mastering the route to disaggregation. And here we include cloudification, network automation. However, we focus on the end-to-end operating model because this is something which is really keeping CTOs and CTIOs awake today, and it was not covered yet in the industry. The next big topic is everything around sustainability. And the third big topic, of course, is that we already started to work on 6G, as our name suggests. And I'm also specifically mentioning all 3 topics because when we look into the future, so the development from 5G to 6G, and we had a lot of interesting presentations today also about that 5G is not yet even fully standardized in the industry. All 3 topics will build on each other, and this is where actually everything comes together. So operating disaggregated networks, it is clear that there will be benefits. So we've heard several good presentations today, for instance, also from Stefan just before the coffee break. Lowering the barriers to enter the market, for instance, it is expected that higher agility and flexibility is achieved, but it comes for a price. And the price is that the interoperability tests and also integration will be more complex than before, naturally, because more parts need to be integrated. And to achieve a truly resilient and efficient operation, a major paradigm shift is required at operators. And yes, much of this happens in the competitive area. So of course, operators need to make their own decision how to operate their networks, how to skill their workforce, how to change processes. But there is a lot what can be done in the pre-competitive environment. Today, almost 30 companies cooperate in this project, also reflecting the entire value chain. And the project already published the first operator view on the context and current challenges of disaggregated networks. But the target is to come up with blueprints for operating models, to identify the industry status and the industry roadmap, and to identify gaps, and of course to feed the requirements to the industry. So what is the value and the output of our work? We work on the requirements level, requirements to other organizations, to 3GPP, but also to the industry as such. Green future networks, sustainability. I mean, it is, let me go back for a second. It is clear that we have an obligation as the industry. So first of all, with regards to achieving, in general, carbon neutrality, we know that by 2050 we need to have a complete zero net solution. By 2030, the carbon emissions need to be halved from today's level. And this means that we need to achieve the peak in 2025. And we know that we are already, as a globe, already late to achieve this if we really want to achieve the 1.5 trajectory. And in addition, everyone here in the room in the industry knows that we will need to cope with a significant increase in traffic. So network energy efficiency has a major role going forward, and this is also very important when we will speak about 6G, but not only. And we have almost 35 companies collaborating in the project since 2020, and a lot is already published, sustainability challenges in general, but also recommendations for operators when it comes to eco-design of equipment. We worked on network energy efficiency already last year and on metering for sustainable networks. So if you cannot measure something, you cannot improve it. This is a snapshot of some of the recommendations and requirements to the industry. 5G is already delivering an improved 5G air interface spectral efficiency, but much more needs to be done when it comes to dynamic dimensioning of networks, deploying sleep mode functions, using artificial intelligence for such functions and decisions. What I would like to emphasize, because we speak very often about network energy efficiency in the industry, and this is important, so it can be achieved, so lowering the power consumption can be achieved through network energy efficiency improvements, but also through using more renewable energy and improving energy efficiency, especially in network equipment with high consumption. But it is not the only part where we really need to focus on, because when it comes to equipment, circular economy, we use still a lot of critical materials in the industry. And in some countries, it is already mandated by legislation that users need to be informed about the carbon footprint the service is using. And here it starts to be extremely complex, because we need to look here into the entire value chain. So from the moment the materials are depleted, including transport, any impact on land and water, until the usage. And typically the carbon emissions from manufacturing are higher than from the usage as such. And here actually the conclusion was that we need to collaborate much more, not only within the industry, to achieve a clear picture and common methodologies how to measure such footprint, but we also need to work actually and to collaborate cross-industry wide here. And last but not least, the industry is already applying different business model when it comes to sharing instead of owning and the usage of refurbished equipment. We continue on our work here. This year, so at the moment, we have 4 major work streams. One is supply chain circular economy criteria, so everything related to recommendations to procurement with regards to sourcing. Reducing environmental impact, so here we continue on the development of methodologies, for instance, how to measure footprint, and also to look into any impact on water and land resources. We continue also to work on network energy efficiency. We look into the energy consumption of disaggregated networks, a very important topic. Also, of course, advanced methods by using artificial intelligence, and what does it mean to build artificial intelligence algorithms, because artificial intelligence uses energy by itself as well, so this also needs to be included there. And last but not least, we develop KPIs and methodologies for a global green networks benchmark. At the moment, we have different quality of service benchmarks when it comes to networks benchmarks, and there is a strong belief that the industry needs to move forward and include also sustainability KPIs there. 6G, so 6G, as mentioned, we already, so NGMN already paved the way for 4G and 5G, and we started, so we have 44 companies working there in the project. We started already back in 2020, and why is it important to already start to work on 6G, and why was it important already back in 2020? So there were already some opinions, mainly by research institutes and R&D units about 6G, but there was not yet a consolidated view from the operator community on 6G, and naturally, the industry, of course, is focusing on the monetization of 5G. But historically, every generation needed 8 to 10 years until from the first development start until commercialization. And even though it is very early stage, and we cannot say for sure at the moment how 6G will look like, so this is also clear. It was extremely important to start, and we started with an operator view on the drivers and vision for 6G. It was published last year. This year, the project, together with the entire community, so research institutes, vendors, and operators, published their first use cases, 6G use cases, and analysis document, and now we work on end-to-end requirements with the next publication planned for beginning of next year. So what are the main drivers for 6G? So first of all, 6G needs to contribute to societal and environmental benefits. It sounds very generic, but it is very specific, and of course it also includes the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which need to be supported. It has to differentiate from the full deployed 5G. It has to deliver expanded and differentiated services. And the third topic here, and here you can see that we are an operator-driven organization, there is an increased need to improve the efficiency, planning, and deployment and operation of networks. And therefore, it is included here. It is absolutely necessary to provide an efficient way to operate networks. The project then moved forward, as mentioned, and more than 50 use cases actually were contributed to the project, and it was classified into 4 generic families and 14 generic use cases. Subsequent to that, we performed a first analysis against the drivers. So the 4 use cases families are enhanced human communication, enhanced machine communication, enabling services, and network evolution. So not really surprising. And some of the use cases which you see here probably can also be delivered with 5G. And this is the big discussion we have right now. So what comes really on top? And the project already performed a first analysis with regards to how those use cases, first of all, contribute to sustainability and environmental objectives. What is their potential technology impact, and what is required with regards to new technology components? But also their applicability and also deliverability was analyzed, so feasibility and, of course, the differentiation relative to 5G. With this, I would like to conclude. I know we have the panel, where I think that some of the questions, of course, will come up again. And would like to invite you to our conference, which is happening from the 7th to 9th September this year, where we will also focus on the 3 different topics mentioned, with a focus on green networks. Okay, and that's the handover to our panel from 5G to 6G. So, if you have any questions, I'm available.